How do you sort out the so-called jargon from real-world practices that work? Do the members of your organization find some business or technology advice utterly confusing? Welcome to Real Talk with Sam Holcman. In this program, we set the record straight, and in terms that business people and technology people can understand. Now, here is your host, Sam Holcman.
Welcome to this edition of Real Talk. I'm Sam Holcman. Thanks for joining me today in this particular broadcast. And the title of this particular broadcast is as follows. Enterprise architects, please be careful. Do not develop new silos. Wait a minute. I thought that's what we as architects were trying to prevent. Well, sometimes the obvious is right in front of us, but you don't see it. One of our enterprise architecture clients approached us and asked the following question. Are we actually, as enterprise architects, developing a new type of silo? Frankly, we at the Enterprise Architecture Center of Excellence, EACOE, we didn't think about it. It turns out that this client, prior to our engagement, was enamored with and using what is commonly referred to as the B.A.I.T model, B.A.I.T. Business, application, infrastructure, technology, as the four domains that they were modeling as enterprise architects. Well, you can possibly visualize those new four, unintended in some cases, silos. Of course, the old silos of yesteryear, as we call it, were organization-specific focused, understanding and developing around one part of the organization, and that was a common phrase not too long ago, and possibly still is. We were developing things in group-by-group type of things. So, what we needed to do, or what we need to do, depending on what organization you're in, you ready for this? Is to transform the organization's enterprise architecture practice from developing new silos to enabling the enterprise strategy. Yes, transform the enterprise architecture practice from the B.A.I.T model that is silo-focused, never even thought about it that way, to something different. In many architecture training courses and certification courses, enterprise architects, I'll use the quotes now, inadvertently create silos by focusing on those segmented domains, business, application, infrastructure, and technology, without aligning their efforts toward a cohesive enterprise vision, the real enterprise architecture. This fragmented approach or hierarchical approach or sequential approach, whatever you like to call it, leads to duplications, inefficiencies, missed opportunities, et cetera, to deliver measurable and impactful business outcomes. A robust enterprise architecture practice coordinates and prioritizes enterprise integration and the achievement of strategic value, rather than building these, in quotes, silos, close quotes. Well, how do you develop a holistic enterprise architecture? You first focus on enterprise-wide business goals. That's the end objective, the enablement of business strategy. Consistent and focused business goals align with the organization's strategic priorities. We define success metrics based on enterprise architecture produced outcomes, not on maps or models or hierarchies or flow models, and utilize growth, agility, risk, value measures. Those are some of the measures for the enterprise architecture impact in organizations. Now, in order to do that, we have to utilize an enterprise architecture framework and associated methodology to ensure business domain and technology domain integration and alignment. We need to recognize that the various architectures in an integrated enterprise, at a minimum, consists of 6 architectures that are closely integrated and aligned: enterprise, business, process, data, organization, location, and event architectures, and are unified across those domains which are integrated to put together an understanding of the holistic view of what's going on. And what we have to recognize is these 6 dimensions exist, whether explicit or not, in an enterprise. These 6 dimensions are represented across the enterprise and not associated with a specific implementation as an enterprise design objective. This is what we need to recognize. If enterprise architects do not have a seat at the decision-making table, we need to ask the CEO or the president or the CXO what is required to make this happen. Perhaps it's because enterprise architects are inadvertently creating silos that were as much of a concern in the previous silos as they are now. If you don't ask what is the apparent gap, you'll never know. What is the enterprise architecture objective? Business impact. Let's make sure that enterprise architects and the resulting architectures are not producing new versions of silos. That takes an understanding of a real enterprise architecture framework and real enterprise architecture methodologies. Thanks for listening.
Thank you for tuning in to Real Talk. Be sure to join your host, Sam Holcman, again for another edition of our program. We'll have more real topics of discussion then.